Across America, the 2026 governor races are taking an unexpected turn, and the latest forecast has completely shaken the political map. As of December 9th, Democrats are projected to win 24.4 states, while Republicans hold a narrow edge at 25.6. But beneath these numbers lie some of the most dramatic state-by-state shifts we've seen in years. Some predictable, some unbelievable, and some that could redefine the political future of entire regions. Let's dive into the poll results, state by state. Alabama. Alabama remains one of the strongest conservative states in the country, and the numbers reflect that reality. Tommy Tuberville's overwhelming 91.9% support shows the GOP's iron grip on the state. Doug Jones, despite once winning a special election, isn't resonating with the current climate, landing at only 8.1%. This race is a reminder that Alabama continues to be a Republican stronghold, where Democratic victories are extremely rare. Alaska. Alaska often surprises analysts because of its independent streak, but this year the GOP leads with 58.3%, while Democrats hold a respectable 41.7%. The gap isn't massive, showing that even in a red-leaning state, voter behavior can be unpredictable, especially with Alaska's ranked choice voting and libertarian-minded voters. Arizona. Arizona's shift continues to shock the nation. Katie Hobbs at 68.1% is not just a lead, it is domination. Andy Biggs at 31.9% reveals how dramatically Arizona is trending left in statewide races. A decade ago, Arizona was solid red. Now it is leaning heavily Democratic. Arkansas. Arkansas remains deeply conservative. Sarah Huckabee Sanders' massive 97.6% shows nearly unanimous Republican support. Democrats are virtually absent at 2.4%. This race is one of the most lopsided in the entire country. California. California continues to deliver staggering numbers for Democrats with 96.1% support. Republicans at 3.9% barely register in statewide races anymore. This shows the solidification of California as the bluest major state in the U.S. Colorado. Colorado's Democratic shift continues. Michael Bennet holds a commanding 91.1%, while Republican Barbara Kirkmeyer sits at 8.9%. This places Colorado firmly in the blue column, with no signs of changing. Connecticut. Ned Lamont at 95.8% demonstrates overwhelming Democratic control. Republican Ryan Fazio at 4.2% reflects a state where the GOP struggles to gain statewide traction. Florida. Florida, once a swing state, is now firmly Republican. Byron Donald's 77.2% lead shows the state's rapid red alignment. David Jolly's 22.8% demonstrates that Democrats are struggling severely across Florida. Georgia. Georgia is one of the most competitive states this decade. Keisha Lance Bottoms leads with 57.2%, but Burt Jones at 42.8% reflects GOP strength. Georgia continues to be a must-watch battleground where both parties are heavily invested. Hawaii. Hawaii remains one of the bluest states in America. Josh Green at 98.4% illustrates near total Democratic dominance, with Republicans at a tiny 1.6%. Iowa. Iowa is a genuine toss-up. Randy Finstra's 50.9% edge over Rob Sands' 49.1% makes this one of the most competitive races in the entire country. Iowa's political identity has shifted right in recent years, but Democrats still maintain pockets of strength. Idaho. Idaho is one of the most reliably Republican states. Brad Little at 98.4% overwhelms Democrats at 1.6%. Little to no competition exists here. Illinois. J.B. Pritzker at 95% shows firm Democratic control. The GOP sits at 4.7%, reflecting their long-term struggle statewide. Kansas. Kansas shows a solid GOP advantage. Jeff Collier leads with 73.5%, while Ethan Corson holds 26.5%. Kansas remains a reliably conservative state, though Democrats do occasionally perform well in governor races, like in 2018 and 2022. Maine. Troy Jackson's 75.9% lead demonstrates strong Democratic alignment in Maine. Republican Robert Charles at 24.1% shows some support, but not enough to make this a battleground. Maryland. Wes Moore at 98.8% is one of the highest margins in the entire nation. Republicans are non-competitive at 1.2%. Massachusetts. Maura Healey's 98.7% margin shows overwhelming Democratic control. Republicans at 1.3% remain non-competitive statewide. Michigan. One of the tightest races of 2026. Jocelyn Benson at 50.4% holds a very narrow lead over John James at 49.6%. Michigan is a critical swing state. This election may be decided by turnout and late-breaking independents. Minnesota. Tim Walz enjoys a comfortable 90% advantage. Republican Scott Jensen at 10% indicates Democrats remain dominant statewide. Nebraska. Jim Pillen at 93.6% shows near total GOP control. Democrats at 6.4% remain extremely weak statewide. Nevada. Joseph Lombardo holds 61.1%, giving Republicans a strong advantage. Aaron Ford at 38.9% shows Democrats slipping in a state they once controlled. Nevada is trending red at the gubernatorial level. New Hampshire. Kelly Ayoate's 63% lead reflects a state that still leans independent but often favors moderate Republicans. Democrats at 37% remain competitive but clearly behind. New Mexico. Deb Haaland at 75.3% demonstrates strong blue positioning. Republican Greg Hull at 24.7% is not close enough to threaten. New York. Kathy Hochul's 92.5% advantage shows Democrats near total dominance. Elise Stefanik at 7.5% struggles to gain blue state traction. Ohio. Ohio continues its rightward shift with Vivek Ramaswamy at 70.2%. Democrat Amy Acton at 29.8% reflects the collapse of Democratic support in Ohio statewide. Oklahoma. Gentner Drummond dominates with 95.3%. Democrats at 4.7% have virtually no statewide presence. Oregon. Tina Kotek at 89.3% holds strong, while Christine Drazan at 10.7% shows the GOP's limited reach. Oregon stays blue. Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro's massive 95.7% shows he remains one of the most popular governors in America. Stacey Garrity at 4.3% shows minimal Republican traction. Rhode Island. Helena Foulkes leads with 85.8%, Republicans at 14.2%. Rhode Island remains a Democratic stronghold. South Carolina. Alan Wilson at 83.9% reflects overwhelming GOP strength. Democrats at 16.1% make this a non-competitive race. South Dakota. Dusty Johnson holds a massive 93.2%, with Democrats at 6.8%. South Dakota continues as a reliable Republican state. Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn's 95.7% lead shows immense Republican dominance. Democrats are far behind at 4.3%. Texas. Greg Abbott's 84.8% confirms Texas remains a Republican powerhouse. Democrat Gina Hinojosa at 15.2% shows how wide the gap has become. Vermont. Phil Scott, a moderate Republican in a blue state, holds 83.3%. Mike Pichayek's 16.7% shows Democrats support Scott due to his centrist approach. This is one of the most unusual political dynamics in the country. Wisconsin, a major swing state. Mandela Barnes leads with 52.6%, but Tom Tiffany at 47.4% keeps this race extremely competitive. Wisconsin remains a tight battleground where elections are decided by razor-thin margins. Wyoming maintains its status as the most Republican state, with the GOP at 96.3%. Democrats at 3.7% barely appear in statewide contests. These numbers reveal a political battlefield more divided and more unpredictable than ever before. Some states are breaking tradition, others are doubling down, and a handful are so close they could flip the entire balance of power in 2026. Stay tuned, because as new polls drop, we'll bring you every twist, every surge, and every shock, right here on Shocking Election Poll. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because the political map is changing fast.